On to presentations. First of all, we have a presentation from our good Commissioner Beverly Hendry to provide a presentation concerning the 2017 Business Plan accomplishments. And will you require the lights down? I'll ask our good Vice Chair Gail Bates to take him down. Would you like him down right off the bat, or are you going to speak for a bit? Okay.
Good morning again, and as part of our continuous improvement process that we're working on at the City of Oshawa, one of the major components is our Oshawa Strategic Plan and the business plans that support that in making sure that we do achieve all the goals that we set out to achieve. So there's a bit of a pattern emerging, and you're seeing that the departments are presenting their business plans twice a year. They're in year, so that committees are aware of the business that's underway and new pressures that are emerging. And then we are doing our business plan, draft business plan as part of the budget process. So you saw the 2018 business plan as part of the budget process, and now I'm recapping 2017. Just to make sure that everybody is aware of all the good work that gets done. And there is a lot. Even though I can't move this over. Any tricks, team? Oh, except for this. There. What's it better than? Okay. So a lot of the work that goes on in corporate services supports 4 of the 5 strategic plan goals: so accountable leadership, economic prosperity and financial stewardship, ensuring an inclusive, healthy and safe community, and environmental responsibility. And so when you see our business plans, these are not necessarily how we organize it, but for the recap, I've categorized them under these different topics. So under the area of of accountable leadership. While these are a few words means a lot of work. So the ward boundary review, you'll recall all the work we did on that to bring us to the creation of the 5 new wards for the 2018 municipal election. Our staff worked hard at the board and community recruitment screening and diversity best practices to change the way that we do some of our businesses around the development and sustainability of those committees. Internally, staff worked on an ombudsman inquiry protocol. And then the procedural bylaw update, which you are now seeing in effect as of this month, and changes to the agenda process. We had taken, with the addition of the new clerk and looking at the way things had been done for a long time, there was a lot of work done to go and talk to the different members of staff and of council to find out what works well, what doesn't work well, and to codify some of the things that were always in place that had never been. We rewrote the procedure bylaw in plain language, and it is compliant with the new legislative requirements that we are expected to comply with. So we updated the Service Oshawa Knowledge Database, and we reviewed the customer service scripting menus. So this is work that generally gets done all the time, so as new issues come up. But in 2017, this is a discrete project that gave a lot more attention to making sure that these pieces of infrastructure for our Service Oshawa were up to date and are in place to make sure that we are able to serve our community the best we can. We also expanded the role of Service Oshawa by adding 2 new services, so engineering services and fire services were never covered by Service Oshawa, and they have now been integrated into our frontline service. You will also recall that we updated the new council vacancy policy based on some of the events from 2017, and when former councillor Diamond passed away, we were instructed to look at new ways of dealing with this, and a new policy was created. We're currently in the midst of updating our communication strategy that started in 2017 and is underway now, and you were just invited to an education and training session on February 27th where we're seeking council's input into that communication strategy. Oop. Bear with me 1 second. we've also worked really, really hard at increasing our community engagement efforts. And in addition to winning several awards for our Connect Oshawa website, we're also doing a lot of really good work in getting out to talk to our community members through this tool. And we've now done over 20 projects since the launch of Connect Oshawa. Also new in 2017 was a balanced budget online tool where people within the community were able to look at the budget and try to come up with some different strategies to figure out how they would adjust it, and also provided us with an opportunity to educate people who are interested in the budget on how complicated it is and the number of decisions that have to be made. Also in 2017 was a telephone town hall. We did 2 of them, and these were opportunities for people to get online and talk to our city manager and our treasurer about the issues that they would like to raise through the budget. So another great way to collect information. We implemented organizational changes in the Information Technology Services branch, and this is really to bring it up to speed with to ensure that our business requirements and our technical requirements are dealt with in the most efficient way. We began replacing the class membership system. So again, I've told you about this before. This is a very, very old system. It's been in place for about 20 years, and it has been being replaced by intelligence. So it's one of those, we're working really closely with community services to make sure that we get all the processes in place. But it takes about a year to make that turnover happen. Corporate Services is the lead on the work management system project. Mark Robinson is the corporate or project lead for this, and this is a way that we're looking to use technology to improve our business processes so that we have a better order on requests that come in from the public and from different areas within the organization to manage our work and to attribute it to the appropriate resources. We're also currently replacing the Oshawa Land Information System. Another big effort in 2017 was looking at cybersecurity. And whereas we do ongoing testing, and we've been doing that for a long time, we've actually changed some of our methodology around that. We've developed a playbook on how we would deal with a cybersecurity attack should that come up, and that's going to be practiced within the first half of this year. And we completed a cybersecurity maturity internal audit, which was presented to Council for their approval in December last year. Still under the theme of accountable leadership, we developed and implemented an enforcement plan for the new animal welfare standards, which was finalized at the beginning of last year. And with community services, we investigated and reported on a new trap, neuter, release management program, and that is now being implemented through our animal services area in community services. Something that we worked on at the end of 2016 but implemented fully in 2017 was the anniversary renewal standards for business licenses. Whereas they always used to come due on December 30th, we now have evened that work out so that as business licenses are taken, they are renewed within that calendar year or a year within the date that issue was first, that business license was first issued. So it really evening out the work, and that's also in light with our efforts to improve efficiency and effectiveness. Also in 2017, we designed and implemented a rental property pilot project for inspection, and we reported on that in December. And we also implemented a new tenant week where we had a real focus on tenant issues, and we had public sessions with a lot of our community partners to help coordinate a one-stop shop for tenant information. We also made the open data portal permanent, and that was there was a pilot project that started in 2016. We reported back in 2017 on the success of it, and currently have 22 city and 28 regional data sets up and available for as open data. So under the OSP goal of economic prosperity and financial security, we developed and implemented a facility audit program process, which you would have heard about through the budget process. And we also investigated developing a revolving energy incentive fund for council consideration, which council will be seeing hopefully this first quarter of this year. Under the OSP goal of ensuring an inclusive, healthy, and safe community, we implemented the new designated driver licensing and regulatory standards, and that is being worked on. The implementation process and some of the challenges with that were implemented throughout 2017. We continued with our program to rehabilitate and expand our corporate security technology, and so that's an ongoing program, but in 2017 our focus was really on the Legend Center, the Children's Arena, the fire halls, and just make sure I have all that list complete here. And the COD. I knew I was missing one. We also, this is a new project that wasn't on our business plan, but we developed a new licensing regime for driving schools. And so the first half of this year, we're working on what's required to get that implemented so that will be effective by mid-year. Transportation network companies, TNCs, often representing the groups that we would hear of as Uber and Lyft and such, where we spent most of the year investigating concerns and potential regulatory standards, so that we'll be able to bring that forward to committee for their consideration in 2018. Under the OSP goal of environmental responsibility, we continue to implement the Corporate Facilities Energy Management Plan, and in conjunction with that, we participated with the region on the Durham Community Energy Plan. And I believe that is it. Are there questions?
Councillor Bates will get the lights. Thank you very much, Commissioner Hendry, for your thorough presentation. And do we have any questions? Councillor McQuaid-England.
Leniency and then some questions, Mr. Chair. I would just like to make a comment first to staff as the former chair of the committee about 2017.
Well, at this point, we're asking for questions from Ms. Hendry.
Okay, well then I'll ask my questions first, and I was hoping to first give thanks, but I will start with some questions. The 20-plus projects that we've launched since, in terms of the communication strategy and a lot of the things that we've done with Surface Oshawa and other stuff online, what are some of the projects that we're looking at doing in 2018? Are we expanding on any of those? Are we going to sort of tweak what we've already done because we have done such a good job so far?
What we do is we support the other areas within the organization. So as they're working on new policies and programs and initiatives, we used our community engagement through the Connect Oshawa to service those. But a big area for this would be under elections and the teaching cities for 2018.
Okay. In terms of Connect Oshawa, is that something that we could add in terms of a communication policy to make sure that it's on all business cards, and you know how we have standards for what we can put on the business card? I'm wondering whether or not we can add Connect Oshawa to it, because I think that will help with getting more people involved in it. I'm wondering if that's something that can be looked at, because I have to phrase it as a question.
That would be a piece of feedback for a communication strategy.
Okay, so that's on the 27th. Okay, in terms of the budget town hall, I participated in it. It was a wonderful project. Was there an audit done afterwards to see where we could improve and what we did well?
Got it on. The answer is yes.
Okay. Is that something that we could have presented at a future date that is amenable to staff time, just as a, or maybe as a follow-up, so that we could give input? Or is that something that we can deal with under the communication strategy as well?
The latter.
Okay. Thank you. Replacing the OLLI system, big undertaking, and is going to change how things are done in the city. When we replace the OLLI system, will it be easier for us to find a lot of the information that bylaw is sort of snagged with finding right now, whether or not like it relates to the registration of whether or not something was an original duplex, or, you know, this new system will allow for better responses and the ability for bylaw to and other areas of the city to gather information easier?
What I can tell you is that when we do a system redesign, we look at the issues that we had with an old system. We make sure there's carryover, and we look for all the working groups that would participate to define their business requirements and make sure they're included.
Okay. And then the open data project, do we have any that we're considering for 2018? And congratulations on making that a permanent project.
Thank you, and we're continuing to work on that.
Okay. So do we have like a goal though in terms of the data sets that we're going to have for 2018 as part of the work plan?
I can't recall them off the top of my head, but we do had when we developed it, we defined the ones that were sort of quick wins, ones that needed a bit more attention, and so we continue to work on that.
Okay. And then the facilities energy management plan. I just wanted to say you guys are doing a good job. Don't you agree?
I agree that staff do an excellent job.
Okay.
That's it? Okay, any other questions of Commissioner Hendry? Thank you very much for your presentation this morning. Councillor McQuaid-England.
I'm wondering if the rules could be waived, or if you would just allow, as the former chair, at this point, if I could give some thanks to staff and the work that had taken place.
Oh, thanks to staff is always in order. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to say it was my pleasure working with staff over the last 3 years as the former chair of corporate services, and 2017 accomplishments are amazing. There is a lot of stuff that's being done behind the scenes that we don't see every day, and I appreciate that, and I know that this committee also added extra work to those work plans, but I really wanted to make sure that you guys were aware of that I was aware, and the public is now fully aware of all the hard work that you have been doing and will continue to do, and I appreciate the time that I had to work with you on some of those projects.
Thank you.